Hey, everybody. Our guest.
I don't know where he is. I'm messaging him. Hold on.
Our guest no-showed us.
Hold on. Well, let's just give him a benefit of a doubt. Maybe he's stuck in traffic or something. Or he's suing a school or something.
Or maybe he's suing us.
Hold on. Where you at? Let me see here. We're guys, hold tight. Everybody just hang on. He was very responsive. He was excited to come on. Brian Ames. Let's see here. Yeah, we've never been. I don't think. Have we ever not had somebody come on? Isaac?
I mean, in the old days, but not at Youngstown Studio.
Joe, have you ever had a no-show?
A couple times, yeah.
Okay. Oh, man.
What'd you do instead?
Hey,
just monologues.
Brian.
Just talked?
Just talked. But I did do a good bit of shit talking because they didn't show.
We got to be careful to talk shit about him, though. He'll sue us.
Right.
All right. So what this guy, again, if you're waiting for him, he was supposed to come. He's not here. I just messaged him. I didn't get his cell phone number.
Yikes.
So we're not going to shit.
But we'll talk about it.
Let's talk. So you guys, so just to review who this guy is and what he does. Go ahead. He has sued like 165 townships.
In Ohio?
In Ohio. Townships, villages, schools on open meeting violations and freedom of information requests that he didn't receive.
Okay.
Okay.
Where's he from?
I think he's from like Canton or Barberton or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if he's a lawyer or not. I would assume he is, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And he has won some and lost some. The open meetings violations, he can win money on.
How much?
He can get as much as like lawyer fees and stuff like that, because that is through like the actual courts.
Does he have a job, or is this like his job?
No idea. I have no idea.
Okay.
The Freedom of Information Act, which I've learned is, in which we're going to learn here too, by the way, which we're learning about. We'll talk about that. You can sue, or you can get, not sue, you can get $100 a day for the information they don't send you for every day you don't have it, up to $1,000. Yeah, see, he won
$5,700 from United. He's from Akron.
Okay, he's from Akron.
Okay.
And it's like, it depends on what court you go through. So like, we're going to talk about what we're officially doing with.
So you do one a month and you get.
I mean, that's a paycheck, bro.
50K at least.
Yeah, but you got to
60K.
realize, I don't know if he's a lawyer or not, because that was one of my questions. If he's a lawyer, he can represent himself, so he's not paying for lawyer stuff.
Probably in his best interest to get a lawyer then, to be the most profitable. At least.
If he's a lawyer, I would assume he's a lawyer, because if he's not, he's paying it. It doesn't make any sense to do. Right. But I'm wondering, the other question I had for him, if he's a lawyer, can he sue and then request lawyer fees for himself?
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
If you represent yourself, can you sue for lawyer fees for yourself? Right.
I just don't understand how there's no damages to him. How are you able to sue because it's a public government entity?
Correct. 100% correct. There he is. There he is. There he is. He just walked in.
All right, Luke, come sit over here.
Okay. He's here. Oh. Hey, Better Lady, we're live right now. Come on in. I'm Luke. Hi. Come on in. This is my brother Isaac. Take up a chair. We were just talking about you. We weren't saying anything about you being late either, Brian. Come on in.
Oh, I was taking the Google tour.
Yeah, it's all right. Pull up a chair. So he's here, everybody. He's here. Here, there's your microphone. That's Joe, by the way. He's the owner of Youngstown Studio.
Okay.
All right. So you're live right now. Say hi to everybody. You got 130 people watching. So this is Brian Ames.
You're just going to talk like about fist length from the mic.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. So tell us about, where are you from?
I'm from Randolph Township in Portage County. I've been living there for 25 years now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So 25 years. And we had to ask, are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not a lawyer. No, I'm worse than a lawyer.
You're worse than a lawyer. What are you? Car salesman.
I'm a
mortgage loan officer.
No,
realtor.
No.
That's what we do.
I'm a software engineer.
Software engineer. Got
project manager.
Okay.
You know. My last job I had was working at NASA, on space communications.
Okay.
So, I do everything.
Okay. So are you still doing that, or are you just doing your law stuff now against the school?
I retired about 8 years ago or something. So,
okay.
Of course, when you retire, you're supposed to work less.
Yeah.
I'm working more since
Right.
I've been retired,
Yeah.
doing
Okay.
this stuff,
So when did you start going out? So I guess I want to know what started you off, and we have a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have some critical questions for you too, because I know you've had to hear it. You had to
Yeah.
hear some of the critical
Right.
stuff,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So when did you start going after the local towns and the schools and that stuff?
There was maybe 25 years ago or something.
Wow.
The local commissioners were putting this sales tax on the ballot.
In Portage County?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were saying like, oh, it wouldn't apply to vehicles. And they were saying that to keep the car dealerships happy,
Mm.
from opposing that. Well, they put it on and it passed. And then they came out and said, oh, we found out the law says we got to charge it on vehicles too.
Oh, so they flipped it
So
around.
they were lying.
Okay.
They knew.
Yeah.
So
they passed the law and then said, "Oh, sorry, we messed up," and they were going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So 20 years later, they came back and they're pulling the same stunt.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we want to put a sales tax on, and it won't apply to vehicles. And I said, no. Fool me once, shame on you.
Right.
Fool me twice, shame on me. I went in there and I started hounding the commissioners and stuff like that. And finally, they got very upset. They said, yes, it's going to apply to vehicles,
So they flipped again.
Well, they were planning on doing that.
Yeah.
And they would have gotten away with it if I hadn't pushed them.
Okay.
And I kept hounding them on it. Said, the statute says right here, okay? And the one commissioner just blew up and said, yes, it's going to apply to vehicles. Now, I had a prosecutor tell me, no, it wouldn't apply and all this and that. I'm like, I'm not stupid,
Okay.
It happened
Right.
before. It'll happen
Yeah,
again.
right. You're not going to tell me. So, I got on then about that. And at the time I did some research and I found out that there was a county commissioners out in Putnam County, right, that had gotten trouble with the Open Meetings Act.
Uh-huh.
And they ended up paying like plaintiffs' attorneys, the lawyers that sued them, they paid them $500,000.
Wow.
Putnam County is not a rich county.
Right.
It's not
Okay.
a big county.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like, I'm not going to let that happen here.
Right.
I'm going to be on their tails,
So you're worried about your county getting sued?
I'm worried about somebody mean suing them, somebody that's going to take all their money.
Right.
Was the first one with the vehicles? Was that in your own county or was
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's watching.
This is, and Putnam's now a different county from where you live.
That
Right.
was one a case that I read about, and it was like a horror story,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
So went on for years and years, and I said, I'm a smart guy. I know this stuff. I can do it. I've written $1 billion proposals when I was there. I know how to write. I'm going to do it. So I go on and do it, and all the judges were like, "This is terrible." None of the judges in Portage County will sit for my cases. They've all recused. One has good cause. The other one just doesn't want to face.
Okay. They recused because they didn't want to do it. They
didn't.
Okay.
They didn't want to face. So I would get all these retired visiting judges, and one of them tells me, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Well, the people's rights to know what their government is doing are being infringed." And
100%.
Says, "But why you?" And I said, "Because I'm the guy that can do it,
Right.
Yeah.
There's not that many people out there that can do this kind of stuff per se.
Right.
And
How many of these things have you done now over the years?
160, 170.
Wow.
It's like,
See,
I've got maybe 20 going right now or something like that.
Wow.
It's hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah.
So that's why I like you reached out to us because you had heard about the West Branch thing that we are involved in now. And what we've noticed, we've been doing our podcast for 5 years, and we've done some freedom of information requests, which I love doing, right? But they do, if you catch them, they do their best to say no, to not release that information. They'll come up with a lawyer excuses and all this other stuff, and around, and they're like, I am filing my first my first complaint with the Freedom of Information Act today. I gave him a 3-day warning this week.
Okay, that's public record.
Yes, exactly. And it goes into the small claims court or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I gave him a 3-day warning, and then I have to I'm sending it to the small claims court or the court.
No. You go to
I'm saying it wrong.
Ohio Court of Claims.
That's
is
it. The
one
court of
place.
claims. That's it. The court of claims.
Yeah.
The small claims. Yeah, the
I
court of
don't
claims.
really recommend them.
Yeah. So I got to go small first. I'm feeling the waters on how to do this. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. How would you do it?
I originate all those public records in the Court of Appeals.
So you go right to the Court of Appeals.
Yeah, because you can do it there. It's like $150 to get in,
Okay.
and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The Court of Claims, they're mostly there to cover up for Ohio State or whoever.
Okay. So you think when I go to the first one,
Uh-huh.
they're gonna side with the school? You think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They will definitely do that. you know.
Okay. So
So
really, so they're gonna
I
immediately.
only did one there, and it's like, oh, you can't. That's attorney-client privilege. Okay. I went back and I did it again
Yeah.
in the 11th district, and I got what I wanted.
But you have to go with you have a lawyer that does all this stuff? Right?
No. All the public record stuff I do myself.
Really?
Yeah, because they have a habit of not giving you your attorney fees, right? And they're pretty straightforward.
Okay.
They're really straightforward to do. you know?
Okay. Well,
And
I'm gonna try this one first, and then if not, I'll go to the appeals. I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah.
To win. You can ask my brother.
Yeah.
I'll go. I'll go to the end of time.
He gets
So-
bored easy. So
so yeah, it's but for an example, West Jaga, I did a public records action against them, and see when they get it, why then it's just poker time. We're just playing poker.
Yeah.
What do you got in your hand? I got in my hand, and they ended up settling with me for $4,000. The statutory max, if you get a judgment, is $1,000.
Right.
Okay, but they would have had to pay a lot of money to get there, to get to that $1,000. And that's all on the table, you know.
So with now that you brought that up, $4,000. So what do you say to the people that are like in this scenario? Let's say you make $4,000 off of
Off of a school.
Yeah.
So what do you say to the people that live in the school district? They're like, well, wait a second, that's taxpayer money that you're getting paid a random guy from Akron.
Okay. Let's look at their budget and see how much of that money is being
Right.
pissed down the drain.
Yeah.
I said it's a small number.
Right.
Look at Patrick Brothers. Okay, you want to pay $500,000 out, or do you want to pay, a little bit to me?
To keep them honest.
Yeah. It's easy. If you don't like it, anybody can follow the law, and
Right.
I can't touch you. Then if you follow the law,
That
I
was
can't
gonna be
touch
my
you.
argument.
Right.
Because you were going to argue that. My argument, Isaac and I have been going back and forth about it. It's
Right.
like, and this was my defense to you, because like he was kind of like, well, he's taking the taxpayer money.
Right.
It's like, but these schools and these townships and these villages and this stuff have been getting away with this stuff because nobody will stand up to these guys,
Mhm.
and they know that,
Uh-huh.
and they bully and they go back and forth.
Yeah, but so my argument would then be there's different ways to do it. How would be you start a YouTube channel or start streaming like us and walk the people through exactly how to do it.
Which is
You
what we're
make
gonna
money. You make money off of advertising revenue instead of making money directly off of the
But they're
taxpayers.
still not going to give you the videos. And stuff,
Here's the other thing, I was in a negotiation, a mediation was, and they were telling her, oh, this is all coming out of the taxpayer's pocket,
right.
stuff like that. And that attorney billed them $16,000. I was asking for $2,000.
Right.
The attorney, they gouge these schools terribly. Just ask you can do a public records request for the invoices and it'll show you all that stuff.
That's what I'm going to do too, because I've been doing back and forth for probably the last 2 weeks with the treasurer at West Branch, right?
Yeah.
And I'm getting responses from an attorney. It's the treasurer, but I know it's an attorney.
Yeah.
In about 2 weeks, I'm going to ask them for the invoices on every time they've done that. it's got to be $150 an hour, right?
Oh, that's low.
Is that
You're
low?
way low.
Really?
Let me tell you about Groveport, Madison down there
Yeah.
in Franklin County. They decided to sue themselves, right? And they paid their
What do you
attorney.
mean sue themselves?
Well, three board members decided to sue 2 board members.
They can do that. You can
Interesting.
do that.
Well, whenever the taxpayer's paying for it, well, you can do anything you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they last I saw it was like $93,000 for one attorney or one law firm, $20,000 for another, and then there was the plaintiff's attorneys that eventually got paid, and I have no idea what that is.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a lot of money going out, and it's just like, here, have some money.
So let me ask. So, I mean, the question would be: are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it to prove a point? That's my question, I guess. I mean, honestly,
I'm doing it because I'm the guy that it's something that needs to be done, and I'm the guy that's doing it.
yeah.
Okay, now I do a lot of them myself, so there's no attorney fees.
So
you know?
yeah. So then that way the schools don't have to pay an attorney if
That's-
you win.
Yeah, that's right. You know,
But I mean, the money ain't bad though. If you're making you're making $5K a pop. You said you got 20 going right now. That's what, 100K?
I don't make 5K on the average. You know, those are the exceptions.
Some of
You
the
know, when
ones
they're
like,
really stupid.
yeah, like
Yeah.
some of the freedom of information, you're maxed out at like 1,000, right? Like,
Well, that's what the court can give you. You
okay.
know, when you're in there bargaining with them, you know.
So when you're
It's just
bargaining in the
bacon.
Freedom of Information Act, like what are you bargaining? Because again, like we're going to go up against West Branch here. So will they say, hey, we'll give you $3,000 and don't give you the information?
No, they can't do that.
They can't do that. I was going to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like almost like a bribe, like,
Yeah,
hey, we
buy
won't
you
give,
out.
yeah, we won't give you the
we'll
video.
No,
leave
Yeah.
you
they
alone.
can't-
They
Here's
can't do
5K.
that. I would not accept that
Okay.
because, again, you know, I'm in it for the people. I'm not in it for the money.
Right.
But having to pay out the money
Yeah.
gives them incentive
Right.
To
Am I too close?
You're
care
coming
about the
down.
Oh,
people.
sorry.
You know,
Sorry, Joe.
If-
I've been trying here. I'm trying.
if they don't love the sunshine laws,
Yeah.
that will teach them to fear the sunshine laws.
Right.
Yeah.
See, well, I know. So
A $5,000 slap in the face to do what you're supposed to do. That makes sense.
what's funny is when I had heard you before, so we know a lot of we've had township people on, village people on, like, you know, the leaders. Everyone in Mahoning County has heard of you.
Oh yes.
All the schools,
Yeah.
they are afraid of him.
Yeah.
100%. And
Government bodies being afraid of that's good.
which is good.
I like that.
So he can make his money, but they're afraid of him.
yeah.
I mean, that and that to me is a good thing because that means they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
Yeah.
Like what is the most common, or what is something you see a lot of that these guys are breaking the rules? You know what I mean? Like,
Mostly it's executive sessions, holding illegal executive sessions.
okay, and
Yeah.
just for those at home, so an executive session is when a school board or a government body goes into executive session where they talk about pay, legal matters, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they don't involve the public in it.
Yeah. The public is excluded
Okay.
from them. And the way they get into trouble is they always look at it as, can we go into executive session and do this? And that's a wrong question. The question is, must we go into executive session? There's nothing in the statute that says you have to do an executive session.
Okay.
It says there's the word may in there, which means that you may, you don't have to.
Okay.
But they're trained maybe by their lawyers or whatever, that you want to hide everything you can from the public.
Of course.
The public,
yes.
Of
your
course.
adversary, you know, and that's wrong because like one township that I sued a couple times, they realized that, hey, you know, if we're open and honest, people understand us. And whenever we go out and ask for a levy, they support us.
Transparency.
Imagine.
Transparency over everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
what I'm saying right there.
yeah. You know,
Those lawyers, I know real fast, that's there. They don't want to be transparent, dude.
No.
They don't want,
It's the
we've been
lawyers,
arguing
man.
back and forth. We want every village, every school, everything to stream their meetings online.
mhm.
And during COVID, they did.
Yes.
Now they're slowly stopping because they don't want the public to be able to see what's going on in those
Right.
meetings.
That's right.
100%.
I'll give you an example up here. The township up there in thing that went broke here. Vienna Township.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Vienna Township. Okay. They were running everything secret, this and that. And they never noticed that their fiscal officer was running them broke.
Yeah, right.
Now, if they had been open, maybe somebody in the public would have said, hey, you're going to hit the wall here soon.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
if you're open and honest about everything too, like he said, honesty makes your decisions, even if people disagree with your decisions, not as bad.
Right.
That's right.
You're transparent. You're like, listen, we're making this decision. People will disagree with it, but we know they're open and honest. So we might not agree with it, but we respect it.
Right. But they don't want to hear arguments.
No.
Leaders don't want to hear arguments.
No.
They don't want to hear.
And that's a bad leader. That's a bad leader.
I had a situation where a township trustee called me and said, hey, we screwed up. We did this in our meeting today. And I said, okay, I'll take a look at it, you know. And the trustee said, I'm giving $500 to the Park District. So I filed a suit. We just settled, and I gave the $500 to the Park District. And I told him, I said, let's try not to get so much money for the Park District.
Right. Wow. So the open meetings you said, so going into executive session, I know you said that they're not saying they can't. So what is the violations that they're doing then? They're not announcing it, or how? I don't understand, I guess, how they're getting into trouble with that.
Well, with school districts, a big problem they have is that their policy organization gives them bad policies.
Okay.
The school districts all have these policies that they get, and this particular policy organization, Neola, okay, their policy says we can go into executive session to investigate charges, complaints against the licensee. They don't issue licenses, so they don't have a licensee.
What do you mean licensee?
A person, like if you're a barber or something like that,
you get a license.
You have to get a license, right?
Right.
That licensing board can hold an executive session to talk about suspending your license.
Right.
Okay. School boards don't issue licenses, so they don't have no call to do that. Okay. In this policy organization, I've sued a bunch of school districts for doing that, and this policy organization will not fix it.
Right. So they're using different excuses that they're not allowed to use to go into executive session to therefore talk behind closed doors that the public should be able to hear.
That's right.
That makes sense.
That's right. And it's tough because, these school board members are not being paid a fortune,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they don't know. Most of them are normal guys. They're not lawyers.
Yeah.
They're just doing what the policy says.
It's any weird guys like me that know the details.
Yeah. Right. Well, for example, and I know we were talking a little bit, the West Branch thing, which I'm very familiar with. And I don't know what you're going to do. We talk about that in a little bit, but one of the things they did, and I don't know, you were on vacation. They had a board meeting. Okay. They had a board meeting. They adjourned it. Okay. Vote. Well, okay. I vote to adjourn. I vote to adjourn. I vote to adjourn. Okay. They all stayed after. Okay. Talk to the public. See how smart. Let's see how smart my brother is here. Stayed after. Talk to the public about business. They called the coach up, and he was talking about business. They were talking about hiring, why they did it, and all this other stuff. What's wrong with that? See how smart you are.
So they adjourned the meeting, and then they brought everybody up.
Yeah, hit the gavel, adjourned it, and then.
Well, if it's business, it should be during the meeting, right?
Correct.
It shouldn't be.
And what's the
after.
word? It starts with a Q.
I have no idea. What a
quorum.
What's that mean?
Go.
Let me say.
Help me out here.
I checked that here. Now, years ago, there was a case up in Geauga County, the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
The case is Hulesky versus Lawrence, right?
Okay.
And what happened was there was some controversy that appeared in the meeting.
Yep.
And so the public all barged in
Yep.
after the meeting, and they brought in the press and all that, and they started grilling these guys about what was going on there. The court ruled improperly that was not a meeting, and the Open Meetings Act did not apply.
Okay.
Because it was a press conference.
Oh, because the press was there. Okay.
Because it's a press conference.
Okay.
Now, I've watched that video,
Uh-huh.
and those people that when they were trying to adjourn said, "Oh, no, you're not adjourning," or something like that. That's a criminal offense.
For them saying not adjourning or what?
For them to disrupt a meeting before it's adjourned.
Okay.
And they did that.
Yeah.
Who
And
did that? The board?
No, the people.
The people
The
did.
people were disrupting.
They're hollering
Oh, yeah.
and that. And
Oh, it was crazy.
So
And
you're
if
not
you-
allowed. You're not allowed to. The public isn't allowed to do that.
no.
Oh, they were disrupting the whole
No.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, they would. I only watched the second half
Yeah.
part, and then if that were in Trumbull County, they would have been sitting in jail alongside of Nikki Frenchco. I mean, that's what they accused Nikki Frenchco of doing.
Yeah.
Disturbing
Yeah.
the meeting. Yeah.
So do you think anything was wrong with what the board did with them staying there or not? They
No,
adjourned it or not?
No, I actually think that I would have just walked out. But
Okay.
what they did wasn't a violation.
Okay. See, and I thought it was by the way it was working because
Yeah.
they stayed after. So you said that was a press release then,
Press
or a
conference.
press conference after.
Yes,
And as long as they're talking about things that they've already all discussed and
Really?
agreed
That's
upon,
interesting. So,
and then
yeah.
you're fine. And I like more transparency. I don't care
Yeah.
what the legal stuff, as long as they're
The-
being more open and honest.
The
and
problem with
talking
that
about it.
was though they had an opportunity to let everybody talk during the meeting, and they didn't. That was the problem I had.
They
with
didn't
that.
let anybody talk
Because-
because of the 5-day
because
rule
of
or
the
whatever.
5-day rule, and
And then they let
waived it,
they let the doctor talk.
and they let the doctor talk.
Yeah, well, that's not an Open Meetings Act violation.
No, that's just being
That's-
pricks,
that's-
is what
yeah,
that is.
that's-
Yeah, that's not an open violation. That's just being
That's
jerks.
It's not
I-
illegal to be an asshole.
It's not-
That's right.
exactly. It's not illegal to be an out. Exactly.
That's
right.
again, that gets back to you want to maintain a good relationship with the
There
public.
you go.
Right.
There you
You
go.
know.
So, are you going to do anything about West Branch? What do you think?
I've sort of already done.
You should. You
Sort
might have
of
already.
already done stuff.
Well, they have a better angel, right?
What do you mean?
Have you ever heard of from the time of the Civil War? They had the idea of an evil angel on your left shoulder
Yeah.
and a good angel on your right shoulder.
Yeah.
That's a better angel. Okay.
Okay.
The better angel is taking care of the problem.
Okay.
And that happens a lot.
What do you mean? So somebody's taking care of them? You think?
Yeah.
How
all
so? How
the
so?
other- well, I can't really say how.
Okay. Somebody paying you off to not sue. What do you got?
No. I don't. When I
Okay.
do, but it happens quite a bit. If they have a reasonable attitude, if they have a reasonable attitude, if they really want to fix it or something like that,
okay,
I'll
so
give them-
that's good. So if they're willing to fix their issues,
yes.
Are we allowed to talk about what you think the biggest issue within their system revolves around right now? Like, what is the topic that you would be most interested in suing if you did?
Well, there is one. I won't tell you what it is because I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it in a better forum right now.
Yeah.
But there is a practice out there among school districts that is quite widespread.
Okay.
And I've got a case against Vermilion up there that brings it up. I had one in Columbus.
Okay.
That's a hopeless place.
See, he's not just happy suing everybody, like you
Yeah.
said. So he's saying if they have a good attitude, so if he comes at them,
Yeah.
get me right here, if I'm saying
Yeah.
this right, if he comes at them and they're willing to work with him to fix the issue, right? Is that
Yeah.
right? If I'm not, if you sue me and I'm like, look, Brian, I'm gonna work on this, help me figure out what we're doing wrong. You'll back off, or if I'm like, screw you, I'm doing it right, I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
There's two
Yeah,
options,
that's
right?
Bed, buddy, leave us alone. Yeah.
You can listen to your better angel or you can listen to the evil angel.
My better,
I got a feeling they're not gonna listen.
he said they are.
Really?
My better angel died a long time ago.
Right.
He gets choked out by my bad angel.
So
So they throughout this whole process, there have been like a couple opportunities, I would say, or like situations where it's like, all right, you guys gonna do the right thing here? No. You guys gonna do the right thing here?
Right.
No. You guys
Right.
gonna do the right here? Like at least 3 or 4 times. And we've been saying transparency over and over and over, and they never do.
I just want a redacted video is all I ask for, and they won't give it to me. A redacted video
of the coach of the coach's kid.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
A redacted video. They won't
let
give
the
it to me.
people the people judge if
give it to me.
it's sexual
Yeah.
assault or whatever
Yeah,
they try
but
to
they
call
won't-
it.
I want it
But they won't
redacted.
do it because
all I want.
they're standing by their word that it was or whatever the dog. But you don't let the people interpret it, then they can't make their decision and they can't take a side if you don't even let them judge.
That's all I want is a redacted.
They don't do it.
It's I appreciate their position because we remember what happened down in Steubenville and all that. You know?
Yeah, with the kid, the football player. Is that what you're talking about?
That they had all these accusations and this like that, and it turned out to be it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I saw something similar, in a local school district right there in Portage County. Somebody says so and so made this comment on the field, and everything just blew up. And then it turned out to be nothing. But meanwhile, they lost good people off the school board.
Right.
They lost a good coach.
Right. That almost happened.
That's what I want. Well,
Yeah.
it happened, but here's the other thing. You got to remember this kid, the 26-year-old.
Yeah.
He's getting drugged through the mud.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's why I want this video.
Yeah.
And they won't give it to me. They won't. Like, I know
Because there was an accusation, and they immediately were like, boom, you're out.
they didn't immediately went out. They waited. So he got accused.
The kid got removed right away, though, right?
No.
The 24-year-old.
They waited till the 24th. They didn't remove it. The incident happened on March 6th.
Okay.
They waited till the 24th or 5th to get rid of him.
Okay.
They fired the coach on the 30th.
Okay.
All the crap went down with the press, or they got rid of the shields on the 30th for calling the parents or texting the parents.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the SRO officer until April 7th or 8th,
Okay.
a month in like 2 or 3 days after the incident happened,
accusation.
because they were getting heat from getting rid of the shields.
So then
There's
what
so
they should
much
have done
wrong
is they
with what
should have
they
gone
did.
to the SRO first. So the SRO
the day
can,
after.
and the cops can determine if it's assault or not.
Yes.
And then, hey, what do you guys think? Okay, we'll get rid of the
Yes.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They
didn't do
got
any
rid
of
it
that.
first.
They didn't do any of it.
Man,
So they drag.
that's
So now
wrong.
this poor kid's getting drugged through the mud.
Right.
They won't release the video because they're claiming FERPA, saying
Yeah.
it's with the girl's record, and I'm like, you can legally redact it according to what my lawyer said, and according to whatever they can redact the video with the face of the girl and give it to me, and they won't do it. They're saying you can still see the girl and know who it is. So, I don't know. Back and back. What do you think?
I enjoy these people that make claims about FERPA because generally they don't have any idea of what it means.
What's it?
What's it mean? Help me out here.
Look,
Help me out.
why don't you tell us what FERPA means?
Well,
I can tell you.
I can tell you how
yeah.
many people are in jail for violating FERPA.
Let's hear it.
0.
What's FERPA?
Family Educational Rights Protection
Protection
Act.
Okay.
Okay. And the only penalty in there is the school loses its funding.
For violating FERPA.
Yeah. For they lose federal
And
funding.
what would it be though? It's protecting the kids versus.
It's supposed to protect certain information, not their
Pertaining.
names, not their
It's like a file. The way it's described is like an educational file, right?
yeah,
It is what it is.
educational records, you
Right.
know, and that. So and I'm not going to give anybody any legal advice about
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, you
Because
can just hint.
I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is that it's okay to say their names on the field.
Yeah.
You don't see any players out there with black tape
Right.
over their names on their jerseys.
Right. So you can say all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what they're claiming is with this video is they're saying, I'm sorry,
Talking to Mike.
they're saying because the girl's in the video and it didn't go to the police. Well, they went to the police, but the police didn't keep the video. So because of that, it went into the girl's file. Okay.
Mhm.
And because it's in the girl's file, it's now under FERPA. And because it's under FERPA, I said, okay, great. You can redact the video. You can cover her face up. And so then that way you can't see who it is. But they're saying because it's a small town community, even if you redact it, you'll still be able to know who it is, which isn't correct. You're already shaking your head.
No, that's my feeling is that wouldn't stop me.
And that's exactly why it's not stopping me, because if you read the laws and you read all the former cases, it's like they have to at least try to redact it. The small town community rule doesn't apply because it's like you and I, it's not the small town community. It's people outside of the community.
Yeah.
We couldn't go on Facebook and figure out who the girl was.
Was this video taken in public?
It was a security camera in the weight room. So sort of.
Okay.
No, that would be private. That would be their property.
It would be their property, but it's a public weight room.
Yeah.
There are there's a case out there where security camera footage was ordered released.
Yeah.
And they had originally said, well, it would show where the cameras are or this or that. No.
Yeah.
So what happens when you get into a situation like that where you as somebody requesting information is like, no, my interpretation of the law states that I should be able to get this video. And they're like, no, the law actually means this. And our interpretation says we're not giving you that video. You come to that standstill,
Which is where we're at
right now. What's next? You go to court and say, I want the stuff and they're not giving it to me and they have to. And how long does that take?
What happens is I hear this ka-ching in my mind. I said, oh, great.
Yeah.
Another 4,000, another 6,000, whatever.
Hi.
What's your name?
Kia.
Hi, Kia.
Nice to meet you, Kia.
Sorry.
So the amateur lawyer there is going to lose a lot of money. It's going to cause this public body to lose money.
Right.
And I said, like, I'm a smart guy. I can read. I know what it says.
Oh yeah. I have all of my documents ready to go. I have it written out. I have attachments. I have all of the stuff ready to be sent in. Right. And like I said, I'm going to go through the one first, and then we're going to go to the appeal if I lose there.
Right.
And I have so many documentations. I'm starting with, and by the way, supposedly they won't give me the information. Supposedly they gave it to another parent. Yeah. And a parent got up in a board meeting who happens to be the husband of the Board of Education president, said in a board meeting, I received this video through a Freedom of Information request. I've reviewed it and I have this video and it's sexual assault. That's what he says.
Okay.
I have a Facebook post from the Board of Education's president's sister saying he has the video. He has the video, like confirming it. The school will not confirm that they gave it to him.
Well, if that's the case, if they actually did release it to somebody else, then they're already in FERPA jail.
That's what they're saying. So they won't admit it.
With all those other 0 people that are in FERPA prison.
So I have that. I have all these. These blatant. I have text messages where they're going back and forth. Like it's just gross. So I have this all decked out. I have attachments,
so frustrating.
Evidence. It's like I'm going to send all this in, and we're going to see what happens. That's all we can do.
And arguing with them is pointless because they have their heels dug in.
Right. Yes.
And they're not going to hear anything you say.
Correct. It's wasting my time.
You go into court, and like I said, I always originate mine in the Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
Because then I have a direct appeal to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court doesn't put up with nonsense.
Right. But if you lose in the Court of Appeals, you have to pay their lawyers, right? No?
Nope.
For a Freedom of Information. Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Okay. So if you lose for any Freedom of Information request.
Well, I guess I don't know because I've never lost one.
I better double check that one because I don't want to pay their lawyer fee.
That's impossible. That's difficult to do. First off, it's a mandamus action, and they generally don't, unless the statute says they won't give attorney fees.
Okay,
they're very straightforward cases, and that. So, and that, so there's no reason for an attorney to run up a lot of stuff. unless you're filing a million of these things.
Yeah. So
And
you
like
think if we
Kamani
go,
Ware or-
so if we went into this, so let's say I'm like I said, I'm gonna go through the just this is a learning experience for me. I'm gonna go through the first one. I go to the Court of Appeals. Would you, again, not a lawyer, just what would you do here? Would you go for, and I'm gonna donate all, if we win any money, I'm donating it right back to the school. I'll tell you that. Like even $1,000, I'm going right back. I'm going right to the girls' basketball team. Would you go for more money then in the Court of Appeals, or is it still limited to $1,000?
Limited to $1,000.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it all that money back.
Right.
Unless we have a pizza party for West Branch or something.
Right.
Like
or
that.
give it to the coach's kid or something.
Yeah, geez, yeah, no doubt. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they're exceptionally ignorant,
Yeah.
like there are some out there that are.
Yeah.
I don't regard them as an adversary as much as a victim of maybe bad information from the policy
Yeah.
organization or things like that, or just improperly trained or something.
Interesting. So you don't look at these board members then as like purposely doing, or maybe some of them do, but not all of them are purposely doing things intentionally wrong.
And in most cases, no.
Okay.
I there are some cases where,
how about like county commissioners and stuff like that? Like when you get higher up, they're probably doing it more intentionally.
They're terrible, like Trumbull County, I sued them and they just settled.
You were with Frenchco, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, did you know that? In the lawsuit where she got, for those of you watching and are familiar, Nikki Frenchco, she's a big fan of us, by the way.
We're trying to set up that interview. We're working on it.
We're working on getting
Nikki's
her
coming on.
By the way, we're working on it. We have a timing problem because she doesn't want to wake up at 9 a.m. But
she doesn't like mornings.
She doesn't like mornings, and we don't like afternoons. But she had, for those of you again living under a rock, Nikki Frenchco was a county commissioner in Trumbull County. Was a little bit rough around the edges with her fellow commissioners and some of the people working there, and went back and forth. And she got removed and arrested during a meeting for being, quote, disruptive.
Yeah. They said she was disruptive.
And that was all set up,
Oh, 100%.
They had keyword. You're disrupting the meeting, right? And I got two people out there. That's your keyword.
Yeah.
When you see it, as soon as Calamasa says that, they appear and they come up and you're disrupting the meeting.
They recorded it publicly, her getting arrested.
Yeah.
It's like it seemed like it was just like a show of power.
We didn't agree with a lot of anything she did. Since the very beginning, the way she acted, the way she covered
I wouldn't say disagreed. I would say it's freaking wild that like her smashing the glass.
Yeah, I would say
like there was just crazy shit
approach to things we didn't
just
agree with.
Wild.
But
it was awesome.
We did not agree with the way they did that, because it was truly like a violation of freedom when they arrested a county commissioner for on live video. Yeah.
The thing is, my impression of Nikki Frenchco is that she has more brains than the other two put together. And I told Canada Mesa, if you watch the videos and stuff like that, you'd see food going and starting on, and you'd see Canada Mesa getting more and more arrested and stuff like that. I told Canada Mesa, I said, keep a stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Don't let them push your buttons. I said, be like me. I don't have any buttons.
Right.
Just keep a stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Or something like. And he couldn't do it. He tried it for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And it was working out great, And then he slipped. You can't do what you did.
Right. Yeah. And then they got her. So you were involved in that lawsuit.
Oh yeah. I had the video for the one meeting. I took the video.
Yeah.
And I have a 501c4 called Open Government Advocate.
Wait, what's a 501c4?
Yeah. It's a nonprofit.
Okay.
We don't have to report our contributions,
Man, we need to switch to that.
Yeah. No, really, you should.
We have a 501c that we do.
Yeah. Those are now, since the higher standard deductions, those are almost useless.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to get a big contribution.
We don't do it for. We do it.
The 501c3 literally was set up just so that we could get booze at our events.
Okay.
So we have we were going to talk about it. We have an event that we are working with the Foundry in Salem, Ohio, coming up in 2 weeks, and we're doing our 501(c)(3) is going to benefit from,
and it's actually to get around local governments that say, hey, we don't want booze at this event, and they, because it's a 501(c)(3) and because it's for charity, they're not allowed to ask questions if it's through the charity. So we're like, okay,
and then they're selling the booze outside, and then our thing, and then we end up giving it back to like the schools, to the thing. It's really cool. It's really fun. We have that all along. It's exciting to do. So
I've set up a couple 501(c)(3)s,
yeah,
stuff like that myself.
Yeah,
I have Project Promise, which is one part of it is 501(c)(3), the other part's a 501(c)(4).
Yeah, I've never heard of a C4. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So you don't have to report it. Wow. So,
you don't
what,
have
is your,
to disclose
what does your 501(c)(4) do then? So
we right now we're supporting repeal or outlawing the property tax.
Really, you're part of that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Let's go. I don't want to pay property tax.
Are you part of the group then that's doing that?
Yes.
Really?
Think of how beneficial that would be to home ownership.
I understand it, but how are you going to pay for my potholes and all that other stuff? How would that happen?
If you don't have property tax?
That's what the General Assembly is supposed to figure out.
Figure it out,
they
bro.
can figure it out.
Figure it out. That sounds like a you problem.
What about the schools? What about my kids that are in school? What are you going to do to my poor kids?
Again, there's an organization that did the Rolf, case. They got that said property taxes are unconstitutional.
Right.
Okay. And the court agreed with them, and then they said, but we can't order them to do anything.
That I knew. Right.
And, okay. That same group is still out there.
Yeah.
Panhandling for money.
Right.
And,
I mean, when you break it down as simply as you never truly, with property taxes, you never truly own your property. You only eventually are going to pay rent to the government, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, property tax originated way back before they had the ability to do sales tax, all these other things. Okay. And this was like, you paid your property tax with beaver pelts,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Way back.
Now
we have better systems. If they eliminated property tax, half the auditor's office and treasurer's office would go away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overhead in there.
If you got rid of property taxes.
If you got rid of
if you got rid of property taxes, you would have a fire department tax, a police tax, a road tax. You'd have these different things, but they would only be designated to.
Or even that, they could put the tax on homeowners insurance for fire.
Okay.
Okay. You want fire protection? Golly, yeah. It's a lot better to have a fire department than have to pay higher insurance. So that's where it should go, right?
Put it on the insurance.
And oh my God, I don't trust the insurance companies though.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're it's criminal.
So I guess you get rid of property tax. So let's say we get rid of property
tax. I'm stupid to sit over here and get excited that all my property taxes are going to just disappear. But you're going to have other taxes that are going to be implemented to make up for this stuff that the property taxes used to pay for. So schools.
I mean, you still have schools, emergency,
right? So I'm not just gonna my $4,000, $5,000 in property taxes is just gonna.
I pay $7. Thank you very much.
Right.
I pay $7 a year.
Yeah.
On that stuff, right?
Yeah, but for my dinky little house, this is all my acreage.
Yeah, but I pay $7,000. But again, it's like it's not going to go away. You're still going to pay.
No. I wish, bro. That would be awesome, but it's not. That's not how it works.
What will happen is the overhead cost of collecting that money will go down because they already have a sales tax system. Putting bigger numbers in it isn't going to change the overhead cost of it.
Right.
They have all these other things. So same with other taxes, the income tax, those systems are already in there.
Yeah.
This property tax is just duplicative and it is wasteful. There's so much because we have to do these abatements and then the schools have to get payment in lieu of taxes and stuff like that. And then what happens, like this county up in Lorain County or township and school district up there in Lorain County, they were reaping all this money off these greenhouses up there. And then the greenhouses got a ruling that they're not subject to property tax. Oh, all that tax shifted over onto the city or citizens, and and they voted for these millages, thinking,
Wow.
well, we'll only pay this much. Now we're paying this much,
Right.
and,
Right.
and it's even worse now.
What's wrong now? Oh, there's a
The
phone call.
thing's going
Oh,
up.
I can't even see the screen.
Oh, we couldn't see the screen. We have a
So-
phone call. You okay taking a phone call?
Sure.
17. Oh, it's 17. How long was she on hold for? Oh, sorry. Hey, 17, what's up?
Hey, Brian Ames, thank you for being a one-man wrecking ball. I love it. And you're an inspiration. I was recently at a Patriot meeting, and I signed the thing about the property tax to abolish it. And the person who got my signature asked me if I also wanted to collect signatures from Mahoning County. So I think I'm going to call him, and I think I'm going to do that because I think you're such an inspiration. So
Look at that. You got
Thank
thanks.
you.
And I was curious.
fan.
Thank you.
What's that?
I said he's got a fan.
I was curious, what does it cost you to take a case to the Supreme Court? Is that like a lot of fees that you have to pay?
$100.
That's it. That's not bad
That's
at
it,
all.
yeah.
Oh,
150 in the Court of
And-
Appeals, and then 100 if I go on to.
And you don't have an attorney do it for you, do
No,
yourself.
I do it myself. You know,
And if you don't know if you lose though, if you got to pay the other attorney though, right?
I haven't lost. So
I got freaking
Hell yeah.
I gotta Google that one.
Undefeated.
I don't think that there's nothing in the statute that
Yeah.
says that they can collect on it.
Well, she's gonna get signatures. You know what? 17, you should come see Isaac because he'll probably sign.
yeah, I think he'll sign. That'll be great.
I don't know
Well,
if I'll
thank
sign
you
or
for
not,
being
but
such a patriot.
I don't know if I'll sign or
Yeah,
not, but
well.
I'll give you an autograph if you want for $20.
You don't know if you'll sign. How could you not sign such a thing?
I got to think about. I need to know what's going to happen. After.
Here's what's
I
going
need to know
through.
what's gonna happen
17,
after.
17, here's what's going through his brain right now. His wife is a teacher. He's worried if you eliminate property taxes, you take it away from the schools, you take it away from the
I have
teachers.
3 boys in my
then
school. So my wife's pay.
If he
it's my
takes away from
kids.
his wife, he will be stabbed in the throat with a knife while he's sleeping.
It's my kids. I'm worried about my kids. Not so much.
Well,
my
I
wife.
think one of the things that's going to happen is they're going to just get rid of the bureaucracy.
Okay.
So, like, you might have one superintendent for all of Mahoning County. And who knows, you might not have a principal at every school. You might just have a head teacher doing those duties.
Is that a good?
I mean, I
thing?
think it would be a good thing.
Is that a good thing?
Well, here's what I think will happen is there's all these teachers unions out there.
Okay.
There's an organization that that they're going to be camping out in the legislature,
Uh-huh.
and those people are not going to be able to get out of there without coming up with an
The
answer.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can do it. They're like, oh, what? We can't do this because it won't get us any more votes if we take care of this problem.
Right.
But if there is a
Well,
panic, then
Yeah.
then we're at.
we had Al Catrona on. We've had Laura McNally on, our 2 reps.
Uh-huh.
And it was funny how in 17, I think you were listening too. They were all of a sudden talking about
Yeah.
all this work they're doing for to fix the property tax solution.
Oh.
You remember that last month? They were
Well,
both talking
yeah,
about how
yeah.
they're doing. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's funny how you guys are talking about that now, right?
Yeah.
Because people are coming after.
Well,
your
it's
money.
awesome. Pressure the living crap out.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that.
Well, they're running scared because they know that'll get on the ballot, and if it gets on the ballot, it will pass.
Right. Oh, it'll pass.
You
Yeah.
know, and
And
they're deer in the headlights right now.
Right.
I
right.
want the government to be more efficient. I want the people to keep more money. I want just all these things. But the problem is so far in terms of trying to balance the budget or whatever they're trying to do at a national level. It's like nothing is happening.
No,
So it's like spinning your wheels. So how do you if I want these things too, but nothing's happening. Like, are we wasting our time?
well,
And if so, like, what do we have to do to make them more efficient?
none
Force
of,
them.
none of these problems are new in the world. I mean,
Right.
the Roman Empire had the same problems.
And what happened to the Roman Empire?
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
They-
exactly.
they used the ultimate solution. You know, we
Yeah.
just collapse. You know,
Yeah.
we let the gods take over. You know, and
Yeah.
they'll figure it out. And that's what happens. That's
I want to
happened.
ask Brian Ames a question.
Sure.
Yes. What do you think about the road tax that we just passed for 30 years with interest when we're sitting on a rainy day fund of $3.5 billion?
Well, one of the things that a good financial person will tell you that is borrowing money that you're going to spend over 10 years and you're going to pay for it over 30 years, and you keep doing that, which your state is going, you're going to end up bankrupt. That's it. It doesn't matter what good cause you have.
Yeah.
Or this, if you spend money 3 times as fast as you make it, you're going to end up broke.
Right. Over time.
Yeah. So I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I said, this is not a no. This is a hell no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, 17. Thanks for
Thanks,
calling.
Okay,
17.
thanks.
As always.
Bye, guys.
What else you got coming up here? I mean, we're gonna wrap this up here in a little bit. What else you got coming up? So you're just gonna keep going at them?
Yeah. Oh, I got
You
it.
enjoy it, don't you?
Well, it's like this.
It's like a hobby.
Are you familiar with
Rita?
RETA, the Regional Income Tax?
Yeah,
They
they're talking about that in Youngstown sometimes, right? The Rita, yeah.
You know, they have like 411 jurisdictions that they work in
Okay.
and 81 counties, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're a public body. They were not following the sunshine laws.
Really?
And I'm busting them for it.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
it's like, you know, I said, like what I said, you find the biggest bully
Yeah.
and go out there and poke him in the belly and say, come on out, fight.
I like his attitude.
Yeah.
I like his attitude. See, I like it. This guy, everybody at home, we all need to be a little bit more like this when it comes to holding our government accountable. You know that?
Yeah, 100%.
And what I figured out is, and maybe you've seen this too, a lot of people are afraid to stand up against them
Because
Yeah.
they're afraid of their reputation. They're afraid of what people think in the community. They're afraid of these leaders going after them in other ways.
They going after their family, going after their kids, like at
Yeah.
school. They're afraid
Yeah.
of like speaking up against the school because their kids are going to hear it. Like
Yeah.
they're afraid.
How many times a day do we get calls and messages? I want to remain anonymous because of A, B, C, and D.
Oh,
It's
every
like,
day.
You need to
Yeah.
come forward as a member of the
That's
community,
right.
hold your ground, and say, "Come and get me."
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
He's like the
courage,
guy
man. Be courageous.
down there in Court News, Ohio, called me the Open Meetings Act bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Like that was going to break me up. Oh,
That's a great dude.
I
Bounty
tried for
hunters are
about
awesome.
3 nanoseconds about that. You
Yeah.
know? And then I went up and found that thing out of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Clint
Yeah,
Eastwood.
bounty hunters are awesome. Dude, Boba
I
Fett was a
said,
bounty hunter.
you know, it works for me.
Yeah. That's a great nickname. I'd take that as a compliment. Bring them in, dead or alive.
Yeah, you want them in
Bring
hot or cold.
hot or cold. Bring them in.
Warm or
But yeah,
cold.
I mean, I just wish more people. That's why I wanted to have you on. More people need to stand up. More people need to pay attention to what their governments are doing,
That's right.
and they don't, and they're afraid. And I like the way we were raised with our parents is we don't keep our mouth shut. We don't hide. We are not afraid to fight.
And we have massive authority issues.
We have huge complex authority issues, like just through the roof. And
It's just I don't respect bad leadership.
exactly. And
I
people
can't.
are so afraid. And like this West Branch thing really brought it out in West Branch. We've seen it happen in like our hometown of Poland Village. We've seen South Range. We've seen it happen all over for the last 5 years we've been doing this, and we just want more people to stand up and fight.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you've ever. This is going to be an old school thing. Remember the movie Ants? No, not movie Ants.
Yeah, it's ants. It's ants.
is
With
it ants?
With the grasshopper. With
With the
chocolate.
grasshopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
If
Again,
one of them stand up, they will all stand
do you remember
up.
that?
Yeah.
If one of them stand up, it's grasshopper was the bad. Hopper
Yeah,
was the bad
Hopper,
guy.
yeah.
If one of them stand up, because the
They might
grasshoppers there were
all
like
stand
10
up.
of them.
They outnumber us 10-1.
And
Yeah.
if they realize that, we will fall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is what they need to people need to realize. If
Yeah.
you all stand up against the freaking government, and
They'll
against the-
they'll be forced to listen.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hide, and I'm so tired.
And
of
I
it.
feel like they want you to they will do everything they can to divide us so that we don't stand up.
yes,
To intimidate.
Yeah.
Remember, like Mahatma Gandhi, you know, they were riding the horses over him,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
a Bug's
and
Life, not
Yes,
Ants.
a Bug's Life.
That
Ants
was it,
is the
Bug's
different one.
Life. I'm
Right.
sorry, wrong movie. Sorry,
Yeah,
somebody
sorry.
just said Bug's Life. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry,
okay.
sorry, Brad.
wrote
Behind
that.
you, somebody said Bug's Life.
Oh, they and he said that, you know, they can have our broken bodies, but they will not have our cooperation.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. There's not enough of that, and there really isn't. And I'm betting on June 24th at West Branch. We need to go to that meeting. You and I need to go to that freaking meeting.
I don't know where I'm going to be. That is not our responsibility to go to this.
I
It's
just
the
wanna-
people's
I
responsibility.
agree with that.
live
It's
in
not,
that
we don't
community.
live there. We don't live-
Let Jordan or whatever his name is go record it. And
Yeah.
it's not our
I wanna
responsibility
go
to go to
there.
that meeting.
Guys,
Yeah.
I agree. Well,
It's not our business.
we appreciate
for
you
that
coming
meeting, not
on.
responsibility.
We've been an hour. How long did it take you to get here? Was it too long? Was it?
Well, the driving was, about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The Google detour,
Yeah, didn't know how to get in the
was
building.
15.
Right.
Well, these things always say, "Oh, turn left right here," okay,
Yeah.
and you turn left and it's the wrong place.
Do you have people reach out to you and be like, "Hey, we need you to check this out"?
A lot of them.
I was going to say we get that all the time.
Yeah, I get a lot of that.
Do you like people doing that? Do you?
It's all right,
Yeah.
I don't do hits,
You don't do hits. What do you mean?
I mean,
Come on, you're a
if-
bounty hunter. You're supposed to do hits.
yeah, I don't do hits. But if somebody says, "Hey, there's something going frisky here," I will look at it and
Yeah.
I will say, "Oh yeah, these people,"
Okay.
So Stephanie says the sad part is that small communities like West Branch would prefer this to go away and swept under the rug. Their community being embarrassed of this on this kind of platform. Please go to the next meeting. No, but my counter to that, Stephanie, would be that's what the leaders want you.
They
to
want
do.
you to
They
forget
want
it.
you to
Yeah.
sweep it under the rug and move on to the next thing,
Yeah.
so it doesn't tarnish the reputation.
100%.
But I would like to see a reputation be these leaders tried to do something and the community stood
That's
up
what you
and
want.
handled it together
Yep.
as a community.
Absolutely.
That's the reputation you want,
Yep.
so that it
Yep.
doesn't happen in the future. And future leaders who think that they can take advantage of the people of West Branch are afraid.
Yeah.
I use the analogy to having 3 stakes out there, 2 with skulls on the top of them, and the third one with a sign that says vacancy.
Yeah. Right.
If you put that image out there,
Yeah.
you let them know that we do stand for what is right,
Right.
Yeah.
and that you're going to get a lot of support.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the only thing, like, I guess I disagree. Like, I think that it has to come from within, like within the people of West Branch ultimately are the decision makers, right? So they
Absolutely.
have to
Yeah.
stand up and handle their
Right.
business, but like it's going to take people from the outside to inspire them, obviously, to
Yes.
stand up to these bad leaders.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you say, if they see one person doing it, even if it's not in their county or their
Yeah.
district,
Right.
they'll say, "Oh, this can be done,"
Right.
and it works.
Yeah.
It's good for it.
Right.
I got a quote. Benjamin Franklin quote. Outside involved. Hold on. There's a quote by Benjamin Franklin that I'm terrible at remembering quotes. This is always my favorite quote when we talk about people.
Yeah.
People complain about us coming in, or people say about us
Yeah.
coming in. Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are.
Right.
Yes.
That is a quote by Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you need everybody outraged.
Yeah.
You need everybody involved
On the same team.
on the same team. So it's
Yeah.
not just the people that are affected. Everybody needs to be involved. And that's what, again, it's like, if we wouldn't have gotten involved in this West Branch thing,
Yeah.
I don't think it would be even close to where it is.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And him going around to these schools, who knows what these things would be getting away with if he wasn't involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Man. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
So-
Laura says, stop bad leaders by getting the standing board to force the resignation of the bullies.
that's up to you guys, though.
Yeah, that's up
Yeah.
to them.
That's up to West Branch
yeah.
to push her out.
if that's
Yeah.
what they want to do.
Yeah, we can't do everything, and the problem is, I know you guys at West Branch are afraid of her. They're scared of her.
And we get messages all the time.
They're afraid of her.
saying
They're-
that it's big. There's big families at West Branch, and they will punish us. is
Right.
what they're afraid of. They're
if
just
you
terrified.
go at that school board leader together, there is nothing she can do to stop all of you.
That's right.
I mean, that's it.
Abs-
Yeah, that's it. So now go at her. So
and then we keep moving. We go to the national level. We stop these politicians from investing in the stock market.
That's-
We put term limits on all of them and
yeah.
just take away all their power.
yeah. Well, I always tell people that I have this idea for term limits. For the Congress. I said they should serve for life, which should be from the time the trap springs till they hit the end of the road.
Right.
Oh my God. So true.
That's the only one of the only things I disagree with
What's that?
Washington and our founding fathers, because they believed that the future leaders would follow suit with what George Washington did.
Yeah,
where they're like,
yeah.
hey, they're going to lead and then they're going to take the back seat once they lead and let the people lead.
Yeah, no.
And it's like,
No.
no. Powerful people will always become corrupt, and
Yeah.
they need term limits, man.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do everything they can to keep their power and stay in
Yep.
and
Oh, yeah.
manipulate the system.
Yep.
No, man, no.
Well, Brian, you are on. Can people follow you on Facebook, or do you like?
yeah.
Brian. It's just Brian Ames, right?
Yeah.
On Facebook, you can follow him on Facebook. He posts about his stuff all the time, the different stuff he's doing. It's very interesting. We're gonna keep following you. Again, I always admire the stuff you've been doing because, like I said, watching you take on these schools and hearing them afraid of you, like I said, I admire it.
Like
a
vigilante / superhero type.
Like
thing.
it's
Is
a
what
bounty
you
hunter.
guys are both all about that.
It's
huh?
like Boba Fett. It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
To me, it's
some
that.
people like him, some people don't like him.
It's the what do they call it? What kind of superhero is that?
Vigilante.
Vigilante Batman.
Yeah,
Batman.
vigilante. That's
Vigilante.
what the
Venom.
government calls him. They call him a vigilante,
vigilantes.
not a hero. He's a vigilante.
Yeah, exactly. Love that.
Yeah.
So, but we appreciate what you do. Keep doing it. And I feel better now hearing you talk about he's giving them chances.
Yes. Yeah.
He's not all about I was like, this guy's just making money. He's just making money all the time.
Well,
That's what he was saying before you got here. He was like, this guy's just making money.
Just squatting.
It's what he was saying before you got here. I was like, I don't think so, man. So that makes us feel better. So all right. Well, drive home safe. Have a good weekend. We appreciate you coming. Again, follow him on Facebook. Isaac, give him our sales speech.
Yeah. Thank you everybody so much for watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, go down below, give this video a like. Go follow Brian on his Facebook page. What's your name on? It's just Brian Ames.
Brian Ames.
You gotta get like Brian Ames. Bounty hunter.
Right.
Yeah.
Brian Ames.
We gotta
Go
change
follow
that
the
up.
MLO Bros. Go follow Youngstown Studio. I don't even think we did an intro today. We just went straight into it. But we are downtown live in Youngstown, Ohio. If you want to start your own podcast or any of the businesses that Joe and the rest of the crew over here at Youngstown Studio run, give him a call. Also, MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. We are loan officers. We are real estate agents. So if you're buying a house, we can help you. If you want to list your house with us, let us use our platform to help you sell your house.
This is our plug, but this is how we make our money. We don't make any money.
If you need
This is our
financing, we'll help you get the best interest rate we can. And yeah, that covers everything. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on Tuesday.
We'll be back. Thanks again, Brian.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank
That
you,
is
sir.
fantastic.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.